Good morning, cellists. Here we are on our third lesson on the Sarabande, and today's lesson we will be doing the first phrase of the second section. But before then, let's think about some suitable warm-ups. You're always free, of course, to pick from the ones that I've already published and that could be part of your daily routine, or even if you're tired you can just select something very nice and simple. It could be something like this, the left hand swoop, nice and calm and peaceful, going with your breath and reminding us of the macro move of the arm as we might move up the instrument and back. But for today's lesson I'm going to introduce E harmonic minor. Why? As you know, the key of the suite is G major and its relative minor is E minor. If you want to remember how you find out the relative minor, fairly simple method. Here's a G, we go back, including that letter, go back 3 letters, G, F, E. It doesn't matter whether it's an F or F sharp in your mind, in terms of just the letter name will give you the relative minor. So here we have it, E minor will be the relative minor of G major. That means it has 1 sharp, F sharp. And for the harmonic minor, as you well know, we must raise the leading note, and in this case that's D sharp. I suggest just a 2-octave scale so that we're actually encompassing the geography that is most relevant in the suites, rather than doing something extensive and high up. So we're just beginning on the first finger on this E, like this. That will be our goal. Let's just break it down for a moment. So we're beginning in a closed shape. Each time that you transition across the string and move, try and make it ergonomic. So I will stretch my first finger back whilst remaining on this G, stretching back towards the first position. If you can't actually reach to the note, you're going towards it and arrive. Another closed hand shape. We're looking all the while at being ergonomic and connected. The next move is much easier to reach to. It's only a displaced semitone. My first finger's going back from an A to D sharp on the D string. Again, a closed hand position, this time with the second finger. The next shift is into third position, and again to connect with the instrument. Your first finger slides to that G. At this point I have an open extended stretched hand shape, so I've got the stretch between 1 and 2. Here's another huge stretch towards the next note. So my first finger is currently on a G, which means across the string is a D natural. I'm trying to move back a displaced tone to a C natural. You stretch your finger towards it, you probably won't reach, so you need a tiny move. Here it is, and then an enormous stretch to the third finger on D sharp. And ideally, you keep your hand in that position, so my first finger is still on the C to come back to. Then here, rotate the arm and stretch towards the B. The first finger will have come in after you've arrived at that B, but still a stretched hand shape, but ordinary stretch, not excessive. Then for this half position move, I'm currently on a G, I want to move back to an F sharp. Use your elbow to lead the move, the shift, so that you really do arrive back at the right place. Now we stretch forward with some rotation coming to the G string. The next one is a big stretch, because we're basically looking at a displaced tone, a huge rotation. Fractionally overdone by me there. And there you have it. There it is, broken down into how those moves work so that they can connect through really seamlessly and create a beautiful line. Those very hand shapes will help you with the parts of the Sarabande. There's various elements which we'll be using some of the notes that you will study in the E minor scale. Moving on, let's look at our study of the week. Feuillard number 5. This time we're on line 3. This is a very simple line, this one. The left hand hasn't got very much of interest at all. It has a little hint at E minor in the 3rd, 4th bar, is implied. So nothing interesting for the left hand, but it's really indicating the bow pattern that we've been practicing so far in this study. So when we looked at line 2, we looked at having a minim's worth on an up bow with a fast crotchet down, and the other way around, a crotchet on the up bow which was fast, and a minim's worth on the down bow. Then the 3rd line actually is going to begin on the down bow, and we have this very same bow pattern, but every other bar it's alternating. So we have the long minim, crotchet, crotchet, minim. I'll show you again. So basically it's slow, fast, fast, slow. Here we are. Slow, fast, fast, slow. And that's all it does throughout this line. Very simple. Here we go. And that's it. So quite a nice, refreshing, easy line for you there, and it's really getting used to this really simple simplicity of the flow, where the fast stroke must be quite light. You can always try it out just on an open string. I would suggest the D string because it's fairly comfortable without being too overstretched on your arm. You can really feel this movement, the sideways movement, like this. And if you like, try another string. You can do it at a different speed. You can do it slower if you want to. Let's try it on the C really slowly. Even at that slow speed, because of the weight of the string, you could hear the lack of contact in the faster bow strokes there, because it's such a very long and heavy string. That would be slightly different if one stopped them. But it's really just allow you some freedom to feel the stroke. Don't worry too much about that sound quality on open strings. It's just to feel the speed in your arm and your body, breathe with it. Right, let's move to the Sarabande second section. Now the beginning of the second section, it's quite common to get the rhythm incorrect. So I would really suggest just taking the melodic line for a bar and a notes, just so you can really feel and hear what is that upper line, which must not be distracted from when you add in the chords. So we have and again. When we add the chords, try and maintain that line. So the things to watch out for, helpful tips I hope. The first chord, keep your fingers down, come back to where you were, the same shape that you just add a 2 for this second chord. We're going to try and keep just the top 2 notes as long as you possibly can. Flat bow hair will help. You will travel to the point if you make this truly long enough. Watch out. This is a place you could easily accidentally not play long enough for the chord. And allow yourself to remain at the point for these little semiquavers. Don't try and push back. Don't do this. Don't try and push back to heel. There's absolutely no need, and it will only give you an ugly sound, which we don't want. Keep at the point, and don't be afraid of this chord beginning in the upper part of the bow. It's absolutely fine that we're rocking over here. So I'll show you that little fragment again. You might also have observed that during the dotted crotchet, I was introducing a crescendo, so you lead the line to the resolution, which is the G chord here. Now obviously it then continues, it's only a semiquaver, but don't snatch at it just because it looks like it's fast. It's trying to imply a calm resolution, although we do continue from it. We have this. Now again, it would be useful to do it without the harmonizing notes. So we would have this from the upper part of the bow. Now, in terms of the D sharp, which we will be trilling on in a moment, do a tiny nudge shift of a semitone so that you're ready for what continues in the rest of this bar. Now, when we trill, watch out, because we won't be able to trill with the second finger as we would if we were not harmonizing. In this situation though, we are harmonizing. Amazing chord, part of a diminished chord, an augmented fourth in this instance as it's written. So you've already used your second finger on the A. How are you going to trill? You're going to trill with the third finger right behind the second finger. You know, they'll be right next door to each other to make a perfect fifth. So in that respect, you'll need to really rotate your arm back away from you towards the wall behind you, so that you can squeeze that finger in right behind the second. Right behind, because they should be in direct alignment across the string. So be aware of that you will have an actual move of the arm back. Let's just see that from the beginning of that bar. There you have it. It will be fine. Rewind it, have an experiment. We've now arrived at a moment where it's a lot easier. Okay, we move on. All fairly straightforward. I've moved into half position here. Take advantage of the open A to go back into first. And that from this trill, the descent does fall down with those 4 semiquavers. Da dee da da dum. And then we have the little couplets again, which we had earlier in the first section. So the couplets are where we just have a little bit of a swift pull at the beginning of each stroke, so that you feel a tiny little diminuendo on each pair. Again. And that of course the bottom E is again an affirmation, a gentle agreement to the upper E. And for this move, you want to move with a flat bow hair. Probably, I'm just going to experiment here, a little bit more of a dropped elbow. That's better. It's speaking a bit more accurately and quickly. So this phrase then from the double bar is today's lesson. I look forward to seeing you for the final instalment this week. Bye.